Today we play the greatest Slavic nation, protector of the Balkans, hegemon of Eastern Europe. That's right, we're playing Bulgaria, baby. Now, Bulgaria is a glorious nation. There is absolutely nothing wrong here and nothing standing in the way of our greatness.
Too bad it's a dump.
So let's start with the focus tree. It is massive and I love it. This is easily one of the best ones they added in Battle for the Bosporus. I have done the communism path before. I made a guide on unification of the Balkans. Of course, it's a little outdated. I'll circle back to it later. But today, I want to give power to the Tsar. And nobody knows how to make the Balkans get along like Boris III and his dad energy. That is what we're all about today.
Let the contest begin!
As for construction, well, not much to do. We won't be fighting anyone anytime soon, so just fill everything up with civs for now. Research, we only have the 3 slots, so the basics of every run: construction, engineering, and production. The army, literally nothing we can do with it because we have, unfortunately, army restrictions. Just park them somewhere in the plains and exercise until you have roughly 5 army experience. Go and grab an intelligence agency, you're gonna need it. Production, you really don't have to change anything here. You could delete the trucks and add them to infantry equipment instead, but you're gonna need trucks eventually for your logistics, so I might as well just keep it going and then add to it as you go. We'll also make artillery once we have it, along with some trains, but not needed yet. Now, the strategy I'm gonna employ is championed by Antisil. I'll leave a link to his video down below. I'll leave a link down below as well to a folder, Google Drive link that has a focus order in it and the political power. Speaking of political power, we're gonna need a lot of it, but you'll see. Everything is pretty much set up. I'm just gonna delete the Air Force. Oh, let's also trade with Turkey. They're about to be our best friends. Now, what we're going to do with this intelligence agency is economic and civilian infiltration. So we'll put spies in our neighbors, or really anywhere, and use them to start an operation to infiltrate the administration. What that does is, if it's super successful, so not every time, but if it's super successful, you get 25 political power. And we need a lot of political power, so we're going to be spamming that operation when we can. Power to the Tsar. Now, what we're going to do here is cooperate with the Zveno next. What we need to do is deal with all these factions: the Zveno, the Broad Socialists, the Agrarian Union, and the National Social Movement. I usually crush all of them except for the Zveno. There's something to be said about the National Social Movement and Agrarian Union, but they don't fit into our plans. I don't use those advisors anyway, so we're just going to crush them, be done with them. But these decisions all cost quite a bit of political power. For that reason, we will not be taking any of these decisions until we get illusions of a non-partisan system. This cuts the cost of those decisions in half. Definitely something we want. Now, there is a slight problem there with the Zveno. We want to rush the Zveno. We can't wait. If the Zveno isn't dealt with, they stage a coup. Don't want to deal with that. So we are going to cooperate with the Zveno and integrate them. That is the goal here. We'll crush everybody but the Zveno. You could crush the Zveno, but they offer you some pretty good leaders. Like this guy, pretty good. Cooperation with the Zveno is done. On to the Tsar's regime, and we're gonna start taking these decisions to allow their speeches. You bolster them all the way up until where it says loyalty and popularity. Here it says integrated, so you have your work cut out for you. Just read what the tooltip says, do that. And I'm gonna grab dispersed again, just because I always do. I've stopped thinking about it, I just always pick it. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. All right, we got the Tsar's regime, gives us a nice buffer of political power. Let's hire the Democratic Reformer, keep working on the factions. Next up, we need to deal with more messes. We're gonna condemn the Macedonian organizations because we want to get rid of the IMRO. This thing sucks. The sooner we get rid of it, the better. Now, as for research, what I'm focusing on is artillery, infantry equipment, and probably some air, also anti-air. Tanks are good, but you know, it's a whole lot of research. We only have the 3 slots, so I might go for tanks, but it's big if. Oh, we're gonna get these events. Strikes. Yeah, I think I'll crush them. Good old nationalism achieved. Time for some Bulgarian irredentism. Integrating this Zveno, this gives us a nice batch of political power and stability, thank God, and then we start crushing the Socialists and the Agrarian Union. Sweet, so the first operation was a critical success, 25 political power, and we're pretty much hoping to repeat that with all of our neighbors. I prefer to pick smaller ones or people that I know don't really have any major buffs to anti-espionage. Don't do this in the Soviet Union, you're gonna lose spies. Illusions of a non-partisan system. Let's go. And while we're waiting for all of that to pan out, let's go grab partial mobilization. Zveno integrated. Once we have the illusions done here, we'll work on the rest of these decisions. Nothing else really for us right now. Let's also fire the Democratic Advisor. I think he served his purpose. We're comfortably above 20%. Illusions of a non-partisan system is in. Let's deal with the broad socialists. We will now grab liberalization of trade policies. Ooh, trade laws will be cheaper. And a plot against Boris. Yes, I said we need Boris's dad energy. Unfortunately, we found somebody who has even stronger dad energy, and that's Boris's dad. The plot against Boris has succeeded. We can't continue until we are ready for Ferdinand, so that needs Boris gone. Let's instead found the Brennick. Cheaper political advisors, gonna be handy. More cruel pop is gonna be great, and it leads to war industry, which might be good. We'll see. We are gonna brainwash some political prisoners, and then we're gonna draw up a plan for regicide. Keep an eye on these. We want to be on the ball here. So the second one of these finishes, 60 days, we want to be clicking draw up plans, and then we want to be clicking the next one and the next one until Boris is gone. So speed is key. We also need to ban our far-right organizations. There will be no leftists, there will be no rightists, there will only be the king. That will allow us to deal with the National Social Movement in a little bit. And speaking of those far-right organizations, they get you events as well. I mean, these aren't terrible, but they give us a lot of fascism. Don't want more fascism, I want less fascism, so I'll take the option that gives me the least of it. Two options we can do now. Either we stop taking focuses for a little bit to get us even more political power, which might be good, or we head on for a little detour over to the left here and acquire modern tools. The choice is yours, but I personally want to save up a little bit of political power until we get rid of Boris. That gives us a little more options further down the line. Now, you might be wondering why I'm harping on and on about that political power so much. You'll see. Anyway, as for Boris, we could execute a plan, but that takes 90 days and is a pretty big hit to us. Instead, let's seek foreign support. That will make that hit a little less bad, and it speeds up the execution of the plan. All right, time to execute the plan, and in 15 days, Boris will be gone. Alas, the death of Tsar Boris, disturbing indeed. Bye-bye, Boris, and that unlocks the next stage of our operation. This is a massive tree. The return of Tsar Ferdinand I. Yes, Ferdinand will lead us to greatness and glory indeed. Tsar Ferdinand returns, you magnificent bastard. So the stability hit is bad, war support is nice, all the extra bonuses are just excellent. And the last one, oh, that one's beautiful. Extra military and civilian factories from subjects. Along with the overall strategy here, that one is going to pay dividends. Speaking of dividends, that's another 25 political power out of Greece. And let's try that maybe one more time on Turkey. We'll see if we have the time. I doubt it though. So we are now moving on to fate of the Balkans. Let's get going. I think we almost have all of our factions managed. One more raid and then we can destroy the National Social Movement and there will be only Ferdinand. And we have hit the fate of the Balkans. So next focus will be, where are we? Nationalist propaganda. Gives us some nice bonuses and increases the duration for the fate of the Balkans for another year. Now, why is fate of the Balkans such a big deal? Well, first off, this gives you these decisions where you can influence in countries near you, well, Balkan countries, issue them ultimatums, and ultimately subjugate them. Influencing them, it basically ticks a check mark for the next decision, which is the ultimatum. The ultimatum has several check marks that it needs to verify, and if all of them are green, there's a very high chance of that country agreeing to join your new faction. By the way, you made a faction with that focus, in case you didn't know. And if that country then agrees to join your faction, you have a very good chance of being able to subjugate them if your army is large enough as well. So all of that combined makes for the possibility of puppeting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries without a single shot fired. So we're going to start there. Now, Albania, you could ignore because it's just Albania. However, we are going for that real unification of the Balkans here. We want everyone here to be brothers. And to that end, we will include Albania. These now run for 90 days. And within those 90 days, we are going to get the rest of these check marks up. So we're going to improve relations. We're going to get non-aggression pacts. We're going to do everything possible to make those people like us. So let's start with improving relations with everybody around us. This is going to be incredibly expensive. This is why we hoarded all that political power. We'll also take the spies out of Turkey. They will not get ready in time. So instead, let's apply diplomatic pressure one by one until we can sign those non-aggression pacts. They give us even more popular opinion. We have another decision to click because we have founded the Greater Bulgarian Federation, a lovely color of green, and it has a nice little side effect. It means we can rearm. We can simply refuse the army restrictions, tell Britain to stuff it. Click that button, and army restrictions is now gone. And we're going to meme it up. We're going to recruit and deploy, division designer, create an empty template, add cavalry to it, a single battalion of cavalry. There we go. Low priority. These will be our future garrisons, but they will also allow us to convert those 12 divisions we have into that template. That frees up a ton of manpower and equipment, which is great for two reasons. One, deal with the Macedonian IMRO, so we'll get more political power once we fix this issue. Brilliant. And we can train more troops. We are going to train, I'd say, like 2 armies of this, 48 divisions. We'll never be able to equip all of these guys, but we just need them in the field to trick our neighbors into thinking we're strong. We're going to put these on the highest priority and just mash this button to force deploy them when they reach 20% trained. That is. What I'm also going to do is justify a war goal on Hungary. Why? Well, if we're going to unify the Balkans, let's make sure we get everybody, right? Let's get everybody. All right, National Social Movement destroyed, so the political issues are at least settled. All right, so we have our billion horses. Let's convert them into basic infantry that pour literally all of our manpower into those divisions. We'll see if that actually makes a difference. And we have our nationalist propaganda. What we would probably definitely need to strive for is the Bulgarian Patriarchy. Really good. Third Bulgarian Empire, really good. Prussia of the Balkans, really good. But I'm thinking going for the industry branch now first. Let's grab modern tools and from there work towards the extra research slots and utmost optimization. And everybody's influenced now. This is where the fun begins, or the fun ends. It's always a little bit of RNG. We did everything we could to get the highest possible chance of having people join us via their ultimatum. So let's start with the outlier Albania. It's the only one that doesn't have all green check marks because they're not our neighbor. So let's see if they're still willing to join us. Yay, they're in. How about Greece? Yay, they're also in. How about Yugoslavia? Also in. How about Romania? Also in. How about Turkey? Turkey. We need that non-aggression pact. Let's see. Turkey. We have a high opinion. Come on, baby. Come on, Turkey. Ah, they're in. They're all in. And now we can subjugate them. Now this is, this depends on our military strength. So we have 60 divisions that are worthless, but they look big on paper. What we're gonna do here is start with the weakest one and work our way up from there. All the time we steal their divisions, giving us a better shot at this. So let's let's subjugate Albania first. The Albanians are in, so what we're gonna do now is request their forces. It's just a 1 division, I know, but hey, it's an extra division that we can now use to pressure the Greeks. The Greeks are also in. Let's also request their forces. You can see where the snowball starts rolling, right? And now we pressure, I think Yugoslavia is weaker than Romania. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they are. And they're in. Again, request their forces now. And we're gonna try subjugating Romania. And they're also in. That just leaves us with Turkey. Now, I am a little bit short on political power for that, so I will need to wait a short while to get my political power back up, but then we are also subjugating Turkey. While we wait for that, maybe I need to get our relations up, but we'll see. I don't think it matters all that much. I got the Turks. I got everybody. Oh, I'm gonna request their forces as well. Of course I am. So, through the power of extreme memery, we have unified most of the Balkans. Well, I think pretty much all of the Balkans, depending on how you view Hungary. They will be joining us soon. I am working towards getting a non-aggression pact with the Italians. They should sign that eventually. And once they take their next focus here, potential allies in the Balkans, they will definitely even be willing to join my faction. I will, however, need to ban fascism before that happens, which means a lot more political power required. I doubt I'll have any political power moving forward anyway. What is pretty funny is I am getting so many factories out of this deal due to the way the game works and the way Papa Ferdinand works. We are getting 23 civilian factories out of our puppets and about 10 military factories. Not a terrible deal, I'd say. Now, as for our troops, I'm gonna get rid of them. I don't need them right now. I'll use my puppets troops to fight, and we are going to change these to the members. Of course, the member divisions, these will be named after channel members, and they will do the bulk of the fighting, maybe. We'll see. We'll get as many of these as we can, but the lack of political power means a lack of recruitment laws, which means I don't have the manpower to put these boys into the field. Time for Hungary to be gone. I simply declare war. There we go. I'll call in the Yugoslavs, and we can easily overrun them. I really don't need to micro this, but just for the sake of being proper about this, let's help out a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely not going to be an issue. Oh, poor Hungary. And for Hungary, it's a simple thing. We simply puppet them. You might need to be sharing a little things. Don't worry about not being able to select everything in the first turn. Yugoslavia will send its points over to you, so just puppet them. Take your resources, take all of the factories you can, submit your demands, and bada bing, bada boom. Look at the size of this beautiful Greater Bulgarian Federation. Now, moving forward, there are two paths. One is where I can get Italy to see things my way with one, a non-aggression pact, and two, getting them in my faction, which would be incredibly funny. And two is Italy fights me for Albania, and I end up in war with the Axis. Now, I do want to fight the Axis first because I don't want to fight the Soviets because of the Fatherland Front. It's a terrible thing, so it's not something I want. Anyway, let's get everybody in position to possibly fight the Germans in the future. I'm mostly building in my own country, but it's not a terrible idea to prioritize building in your puppets. Like Turkey and Greece should be your priorities when you do that, simply because Turkey has a broken focus tree. It has the option in here when it does its historical path, or even when it doesn't, to form their own faction or to join other factions, and there's nothing you can do about that. There are no checks in to see if they're a puppet, which breaks the whole thing, so you might want to integrate Turkey. Same with Greece. They don't have checks on some of their focuses that allow them to make their own faction or to join other factions. It's super annoying, so Greece and Turkey definitely want to push them down. Of course, you want to push every one of your puppets down because right now they are colonies. If you get them down to integrated puppets, you get so much more of their factory count, so something to take into account. Another thing to take into account, you want to keep all of the countries that you're about to take land from, so Yugoslavia, Greece, and Romania. You want to keep them down simply because every time you click one of these that gives you the territory, the country you took it from gets a massive boost to their independence. So it's the little things in life, right? The little things. Speaking of the little things, I need more political power because I feel like Italy is about to ruin my day. All right, we have political power. I'm gonna spend it on banning fascism. Might be controversial, but trust me, Italy is going to take a focus that completely ruins things for us if we don't ban fascism. I don't know when they take it. I think it's around the time that Czechoslovakia is like disappears. Until then, we'll keep our relations with Italy high, maintain that non-aggression pact, and keep a spy there with diplomatic pressure, and we should be able to get them into our faction. We are now going to focus on going to limited conscription, getting some chief of the army, some staff members hired, making sure this country is actually running. That will be great. And maybe also getting these territories back. So it would be beneficial if I can actually control some of my own land again. It would be nice. It's pretty funny to me that we have a massive Bulgarian army with not a single Bulgarian in it. All the Bulgarians are in Bulgaria exercising. All right, there we go. Fate of Czechoslovakia influencing our politics. So Italy did the thing. World tension is over 40%. We have a spy with diplomatic pressure in Italy and high relations plus a non-aggression pact. We can now invite them to our faction because they don't mind our other flaws. They now have strategic reasons to ally us, meaning we can snag Italy into our faction and don't even have to worry about them. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at the magnificent Greater Bulgarian Federation. Oh, Germany, you're about to have such a bad day. I'm thinking we want to come in and deal with Germany. Let's see how long a war goal would take. It's going to take a while. So yeah, I just took back Dobruchta using the decisions, and maybe you can tell, but suddenly Romania really wants to be independent. So it does give them a whole lot of independence every time you take a state. Something to keep in mind. Keep building stuff in your puppets, I guess. Just keep building stuff. I'm not going to build in Bessarabia, though, because you're going to give that away. I know you're going to give it away because I've seen you give it away. So yeah, with Italy influencing our politics, you can see even with fascism banned, we are still getting fascist influence. We're going to need to devote political power yet again to keeping them down whenever they run out of control and using anti-fascist raids. Not an issue yet, but it's going to pop up. So we made very good friends with Poland. They still don't want to join our faction because they really want to be in the Allies. So be it. Got my guarantee of independence up. High relations. Got a spy with diplomatic pressure. We'll see if we can join them, but we're going to come into that war quickly and we're going to go hard. We'll do our best. We'll do our best to be a valiant valuable ally, with an army consisting mostly of other people's conscripts. Oh yeah, Zog says no now, by the way. In the past, Albania, no matter what you did, would always give in to Italy on historical. Right now, if they are either in another faction from Italy or there's somebody's puppet, and that puppet isn't Italy, Zog will say no. He will have grown a pair and he will say no. Now that would put you against Italy, but Italy's in our faction, so it doesn't matter. All right, Poland does the thing that they always do, slow the game down. The army is ready. I'll take my own Bulgarian troops to man the the possible front in northern Yugoslavia. I'll take all of the garbage troops I borrowed and we'll move them over into northern Romania, and hopefully we can use them to bolster Poland. Yeah, Germany has declared war on Poland. We're gonna call in and we're going to join that. Yes. Poland still joined the Allies. Oh, have they? No, but they're gonna join the Allies. They don't want to join us. Let's now just move our forces into position so we can help out Poland. I need military access. All right, Poland gave us military access. Let's move our troops and hurry the hell up. Now, the downside of this is all of our puppets are gonna get more independence because they will be fighting. Annoying, but nothing I can realistically do about that. We'll just have to suffer it. Maybe I should do well to crush the Königsberg pocket first and then redirect to the front line. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Anyway, my own Bulgarian units will move up to northern Yugoslavia. Germany gets a war goal here, but I'm not exactly sure when. Don't want to risk it. I'm not gonna call Italy in because, of course, I'm not. They're a liability. Soviet volunteers, I'll accept that. Yes, please. All right, you got utmost optimization. Our industry should be fine. I could reintegrate the Balkans. It allows me to core stuff, and I can go straight to the Bulgarian Patriarchy afterwards, which is very valuable. That's a lot of extra political power. I think we're gonna go for that. If you take this when you've already taken the land that you can core, being Macedonia, southern Serbia, and the Bruchta, you instantly get the cores when you complete the focus. I bet Germany's wondering how they got themselves into this mess now. Let's start by pushing towards Königsberg. At least that sounds and feels like a good idea. It would enable us to shorten the front line and make it a little easier to deal with. I'm not signing any non-aggression pacts or military access decisions. Thank you. Time to pick a fight with Germany proper. Let's push them back towards Königsberg and keep Poland alive. Oh, this is what I hate about Italy and Yugoslavia. So Italy demanded Dalmatia from Yugoslavia, and despite the fact that they're my puppet, they're a puppet and they don't get to make this kind of decision, they signed over Dalmatia to Mussolini. I hate it. And the same thing is going to happen with Bessarabia. Romania is just going to give that away and not ask the overlord. Little things like that really bother me, and I wish Paradox fixed that. Anyway, speaking of annoying, should be able to deal a decisive blow to Germany here. Poland's still alive, and we will keep them in the fight for as long as we can. All right, we have cut off the Königsberg pocket. We're going to crush that. Germany is going to feel this, and then we'll redirect the front line to the, well, actual front lines. Hopefully, we can keep Poland alive long enough for the Allies to do something. I don't think the Allies are actually going to do much, but if we have to fight Germany on our own, then so be it. We can do that. I can certainly do that. This is by far the funniest run I've had in a long time. Oh, Ferdinand, you play this masterfully. That's 22 German divisions will crush eventually. I hope we hurry along because the actual front line seems to be rolling ever closer. You know what? I need my actual Bulgarian divisions to hold this door open, because if that collapses, everything falls to pieces. Come on, collapse this. Collapse this. Oh, they're using last stands to hold. No. 16 divisions on last stand. All right, now we'll get him. Last stand has worn off. Come on. Should start dying now, and then we'll redirect forces. Let's leave this link here, the lifeline to Poland, open. All right, the troops are dying. They're the defense of Warsaw. Warsaw holds. Warsaw must hold. Warsaw will hold. Dear God, if Poland still ends up capitulating, I am going to be so mad. End this. Destroy these units. I need those divisions on the front line. Warsaw has fallen. Poland, no! Don't capitulate now. No, you can't do this to me. If Poland loses another tile, one more victory point, they're dead. I don't know how many tiles, actual tiles, they can afford to lose, but another victory point means they die. Let's fall back to full defense mode and hold this line no matter the cost. Let's make sure the railway can actually supply us. I had higher hopes than this. I've committed the entire military strength of my alliance to Poland, and it doesn't seem to be working. I would very much appreciate a little help from the UK. You know what? Give me military access. You know what? I'll offer you some military access. Come on, anything. Please, a little help. Defeat is simply unacceptable at this point. I cannot accept defeat. If we lose in Poland, we lose our entire army. I cannot accept that. And just like that, I've turned what should have been an interesting and enjoyable Bulgaria run into a disaster save. Now find out on the next video if I can actually pull this one off. I sure hope I can.